Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to talk about one of the other elections that we had at the end of September. There was not just the federal election, so the election to our federal parliament, there were also two more elections to state parliaments. One was in the northeast in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern and the other one was, well, also in the northeast in Berlin. I want to cover the confusion and mayhem that went down in Berlin in another video. Today I want to talk about Mecklenburg-Vorpommern and what that means for energy security for Germany and Europe. You might have heard of the pipeline project Nord Stream 2. It is taking Russian gas through the Baltic Sea to Europe. There is also a Nord Stream 1 already, so this is why this one is called 2, so it's nothing new, it will just increase the capacity. I covered this project in some previous videos already, and let's just say that this project is highly politicized. People say it is geopolitical in nature, it has nothing to do with energy security or just with getting gas from Russia, which Germany does for a long time already. And now this pipeline is actually physically finished but is not delivering gas to Europe yet because it needs to be certified by the authorities first. And there are also forces in Germany that are against this pipeline, and there are people like the just recently re-elected governor Manuela Schwesig in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern in Schwerin, who are supporting this project. So Mrs. Schwesig's re-election was not just a success for the Social Democrats in Germany, but also for Nord Stream 2. So let's look at the election results from September briefly. You see that the new Landtag in Schwerin is heavily dominated by the Social Democrats with 34 seats shown in red here. They also gained quite a bit actually, and that has a lot to do, in my opinion, with Mrs. Schwesig's popularity. She's really popular there, that's for sure. Then you see losses for the AfD, for the CDU and for the Communist Party, and mild gains for the Greens and the Liberals. Now the SPD, even though they dominate the parliament, cannot rule alone. They don't have half of the seats, they have roughly 40%. So Mrs. Schwesig needs a coalition partner and she chooses the Communist Party. And surprise, surprise, the party Die Linke, of course, also wants generally to normalize relations with Russia, and they're also totally in favor of this gas pipeline. So not just Schwesig's re-election, also her choice in coalition partners is a win for this pipeline project, so to speak. Of course, the state doesn't decide that by themselves, obviously, but it is not unimportant who is currently ruling the state where the terminal on the European continent is. I should add that Mrs. Schwesig became the governor of the state when the previous one stepped down or retired for health reasons. So the last election was in 2016, but she only became governor in 2017 because of said reasons. And back then her SPD party, her Social Democrat party, was in a coalition with the center cucks from the CDU. So this time she was really elected for the first time. That means by campaigning as the candidate. Of course, she was elected by the Landtag in 2017, but you know what I mean, I guess. And maybe it came as a surprise to some that she chose a coalition with the Commie Party. But maybe 10 years ago, this would have been a huge scandal and would have been criticized and would have cost the Social Democrats in other states votes. But in 2021, nobody cares because we all know that all these parties are communists, essentially the Social Democrats, the Green Party, and of course the openly communist party Die Linke. So if they have a coalition together, nobody is really surprised and nobody cares anymore. It has been normalized, so to speak. Alright, so let's look at the other side, and that is first and foremost the Green Party, obviously. They do not like fossil fuels, and this is why they say that this pipeline must be stopped because it's evil fossil fuels and we can't have that. And they also say, and this is where they differ from our transatlantic partners, they say that this liquefied natural gas, this LN gas from the US that is brought by ship over the Atlantic and then emptied in European terminals, and this is very, very costly, very expensive fracking gas from the United States that they of course want to sell us, and this is why the Americans are against it. And also the Biden family, they want their cut, and not just the Biden family, also their friends and other families, they want their cut from the Ukraine when Russian gas is coming through the Ukraine as a transit country to Europe. And this was, remember, one of the reasons why this Nord Stream 2 pipeline had been built, in order to prevent the Ukrainians from stealing gas, which they, I think, did a lot of times. Or let's phrase it differently, they were not really what you would call reliable partners as a transit country. So, but as I said, the Green Party also rejects, obviously, this American fracking gas. They just want wind and solar power, period. They want to ban nuclear, they want to ban coal, they want to ban oil, they want to ban gas, all fossil fuels they want to ban within the next years. And this is where they clash with the Commie Party, Die Linke, because they cannot accept that heating and gas prices go up so much, because poor people, and they still, you can say a lot of things about this party, and I'm the last person to promote this party, obviously, but in a weird and twisted way, they are advocating for the interests of lower income people or unemployed people in Germany. And the Green Party, surprise, surprise, is pretty much the opposite. They are the party of rich people who inherited a lot or who have really well-paying government jobs. So this is where the front lines are in this case. So I also cannot tell you how this battle will turn out or if this pipeline is ever gonna come. The Green Party says that Mr. Putin is now playing poker with the Europeans and that he is causing Russia to deliver less gas now at a time when the prices are high. Well, first of all, shouldn't that be in the interest of the Green Party? And second of all, this is not even true. Russia is holding up their part of the bargain. They are fulfilling all their contracts precisely. They have not delivered less than what they said they will deliver. There is a lot of misinformation and fake news going around about Russian gas deliveries to Europe at the moment. It is very clear, it has been debunked many times, and people look at this. Even Angela Merkel grudgingly had to admit that yes, Russia is keeping all the contracts, they are honoring the agreements, and they're delivering exactly as much as they should, and this energy crisis in Europe is really homemade. It is Europe's fault. Some countries cancelled agreements and now they have to renegotiate, for example. Then Germany, for example, foolishly shut down nuclear, wants to get out of coal, and now what do? Of course, on the other hand, one has to say that it is in Russia's interest that, let's just say, the need for cheaper energy is really there in Europe at the moment. But this is not by their making, this is not Russia's fault, it is just playing into their hands, let's say. And the Russians are just saying, well, you can have a lot of gas if you certify Nord Stream 2, then you can have a lot of gas. And they actually already filled the pipes with gas. They're not delivering any, but they filled the pipes already, and they said that this is for testing reasons. Now, I'm not an expert on pipelines and stuff like that, but, maybe that's not really true. They want to just signal that, hey, we just have to open the valve and the gas will flow. Just give us the signal. And when the winter gets dark, wet and cold, and when the fuel prices and the gas prices go through the roof, and people with lower incomes cannot heat their apartments anymore, and they might become, even though it's after an election where it's not so bad, but still, maybe they become a little bit disgruntled. Maybe in other European countries more than in Germany, because you know us, but maybe it's in the best interests of politicians then to just give them the green light to certify Nord Stream 2 and let Russian gas flow to Western Europe. In my personal opinion, this is what we need. Russia and Europe need to work together, even though it has always been the nightmare of these seafaring nations. But a pooling of the strength, the intelligence, the creativity and the resources of Europe and Russia, and that means Central Asia in the end, and many people would go even further east. I think that is what is in the best interest of humanity in the end. We do not need a political union, but if we work together, think about the possibilities for mankind then. If people from Portugal to Vladivostok and maybe even beyond would work together as a team and collaborate, not in a political union, not in a super EU or something foolish like that, or in the Soviet Union, but as partners. And I know it sounds naive, but these economic projects are a start in the right direction, I personally think. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. A big thank you to all my supporters and subscribers, and also please check me out on other social media platforms. If you like to help out with my channel, you can do so via Patreon or Subscribestar. Servus, Kameraden!